So welcome to our session today, Tech Careers for Non-Tech Graduates. This is very much open to all students at the University of Manchester, or you may be a recent graduate as well. Welcome to today's session. Really delighted to have you join us today. And this is a kind of a new session for us. We've not put on something like this recently, but it is very much in response to what we've been hearing from students. So we really hope you appreciate it and get something useful out of that as well. So really pleased, I've got a panel of people here today to join me for this session. As I mentioned, we will be recording today's session, so just to bear that in mind, and we will also send you a copy of the slides, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel afterwards as well. So really pleased to welcome today's panel, and I'm just going to I can't find my panel slide. It seems to have disappeared, of who we've got and when. So I'm sorry about that. It's kind of just disappeared, my slide 2, and we're jumping straight to slide 3 today. So I'll tell you who we've got and what's happening in the lineup today. We've got 3 panelists, or 3 groups of organisations being represented today to give a flavour of what you can do in tech. But first of all, I'll say a few words, a little bit about the industry and what it's like, and what the opportunities are for you. And then I'll hand over. We've got Zoe from FDM, we've got Tasnia and Jess from Atos, and we've got Sophie, Shelby and Kyle from an organisation called Talent Scout. And then we'll very much give you the chance to ask questions. So please use the chat box to put any questions in that you have, and we will come back to that chat box when it comes to the discussion. And we'll put the questions to either a particular panelist if you want to ask them, or we'll also open that up to the group. But as we're going through today's session, if you get questions come in your mind, please do pop them in the box for us there. So what we'd really like to do is see who we've got in the room, but we also use a kind of register and check-in to see who's here with a flavour of just a sense of who you are. So if you're able to use the QR code to just check in for me, or there's a bit.ly link there, just to do that while we're going through today's session, just to register your attendance. It enables us to send you a copy of the slides, but also to know the kinds of students we've got in the audience. And if you've done that, or when you've done that, if you want to pop in the chat box just the degree discipline that you're studying, I'll ask Jenny to give me a flavour of who we've got in the room just to share for our panellists. But that's an optional thing, but it'd be really nice for us just to see the spread of degree disciplines that are represented today. So I'll just give you a moment to click on that QR code or use the bit.ly link. So www.bit.ly/career attend. If anybody struggles, if you just want to pop in the privately to Jenny Sloan, you could put your name and student ID number as well. So Jenny's one of our co-hosts today from the Careers Service.
We've got a real mix, Amanda, of degrees. We've got business analytics, innovation management, maths, law, international business management, computer science, economics, geography, sociology and linguistics, psychology, linguistics, international business, finance and economics, history, biomedical sciences, economics and other law, applied mathematics, social anthropology, history, accounting. There's loads.
Wow, thank you, brilliant. Well, welcome to you all, and it is relevant to all of you as well, so that's absolutely brilliant. Okay, if I put that slide at the end as the slide of the session as well, so if you struggle to do that now, you can do that at the end, or just contact Jenny Sloan with your details. Okay, so I'm just going to say a few words about the tech sector, and just to say, from the Tech Nations 2020 report, it is a sector in demand, and it employs almost 3 million people. And what we've seen in the past couple of years, it's actually had an 11% growth, and through the pandemic, I think you can all imagine, the demand for digital skills has increased, and the demand in the job market. And when you look at job vacancies in the UK in the past year, over 1 in 10 of them were for working in the tech industry. But beyond that, I saw something that said at least 50% of jobs require some kind of digital skills. So whether you're working in tech or not, having that kind of skill set is quite important. So this is a sector that is recruiting and very much has a whole spread of opportunities. You might not know much about the sector in general, but just to say it's quite diverse. So yes, there are the tech companies, and they might be all about programming, but they might be consultancies going into other organizations to help them. They may focus on data processing. Or you could be the ones at the forefront of IT research and development, like Apple, Microsoft. But beyond that, there's also a whole host of sectors where you need tech people. So you might be a tech specialist in retail or telecommunications, or in those related sectors like music and gaming, where technical skills are so important. So it is something that's incredibly diverse. The one thing I wanted to know, though, was, well, what can you do in the tech sector? And so just to give you a sense of an overview before we go on to the panelists, these are the sorts of roles that you might consider. So you might be about building and developing new programs, new programming language, new systems to meet an organization's need. So that's things like software development, systems analyst. But you also might be that interface between the developer and the client, so the organization that needs your help. And you're helping the business to understand what they need, and you're also helping the specialists to make sense of that. So you're very much at that interface, so very much a contact role. Things like business analyst, sales roles, incredibly important. You might then be about looking at, well, does this new system do what it needs to do? And does it comply with all the requirements? So it might be quality assurance, it might be user testing. So when somebody uses the program, does it do what they need it to do? You've also got things like IT support, help desk, if you're very much about problem solving. If you're stuck, how can we help you fix it? It's also an incredibly growing sector is the kind of e-commerce, user experience, digital platform analysts, about how people use online technologies to buy things, to get services, and understanding how you can encourage people to spend or use your service more. So a huge kind of UX expansion. And also then to say, think about social media, digital marketing, helping people use the internet more effectively, and also the growth in data and research analyst roles and data analysis, because data science is massive about how we work with such huge amounts of complex data. And a couple of growth areas there around artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and this mass use of data. How do you keep it safe, and how do you keep it sort of safe from harm? Have been a couple of things that are mentioned in a number of different reports lately as kind of like a growth in demand. So there's some of the kind of overview areas. And these are the organizations that will, it's not all of them, it's just a small flavor, that recruit people into tech without computer science degrees, for example. And has anybody got their camera on? Just want to switch, sorry, their mic on, just want to switch that off, getting a little bit of feedback there. But these are some of the organizations. So the people represented with us today very much are there, but some other organizations like, I just mentioned the Hook Group in the bottom left, which is very much about online shopping. They've got something called an accelerator program, which brings people in and trains them. FDM, very much you've got today is a whole training program. But all across different industries, Rockstar Games with the R star there. Again, a huge expansion in roles that don't require you to come in with formal training. So lots of organizations, and I've left that slide for you to have a look at later to see if you can identify any with opportunities that you might be interested in. So the one last thing I want to say before I hand over to the panelists is, if this is something that's of interest to you and you don't need a computer science degree or you don't need formal technology training, how do you get noticed, and what do you need? So just three things just wanted to flag up. And the first one is kind of a curiosity. Can you show some sort of passion or interest towards the sector? And that might be talking about things you've read about. It might be giving your CV a digital makeover to bring out some of your digital skills that you maybe haven't been emphasizing. And there's a link to a blog post in the slides later that you can have a look at how to do that. But it's very much about thinking about what's your unique selling points. And it might be about your Excel and database skills. It might be about critical reasoning skills from your degree and your research. It might be your written skills, but thinking about what you have got that you can emphasize from your degree. It's then about showing commitment and being a little bit creative, and getting involved a little bit in this area. And that might be something like doing the free coding courses. It might be looking at how you use your digital marketing and social media skills. So if you are in particular groups, you've got online accounts, how do you market yourself effectively and how do you use tech that way? There are virtual internships. I know people have said they struggled to get internships during the pandemic, but there are online ones as well. And on our career service website, we link you to a section called virtual internships. And there are technology ones, and some of them are about 6 hours long, 4 hours, some of them a few days. And you can actually build up some of this virtual experience to show that commitment. So it's demonstrating you've got an interest. And there are also insight days that are available. I'm just looking where I made a note. There's some insight days that, again, are particularly for underrepresented groups as well, which I think is a really nice thing. There's, for example, there's also PwC do a Women in Tech, Sky do a Diversity Insights program. So a few there. And then the last thing is to get connected. So to join different groups on LinkedIn, to hook up with different people, because it can help you to uncover all the smaller organizations that might be recruiting, that might have vacancies, or that you can follow. So a few ways you can do that, but I'm sure our panel will say a little bit more in a moment. So what I want to do now is I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn to our panel. Just bear with me. And here we go. So just got that, and there we are. So am I back? I'm not sharing anything now, am I? No, that's great. So I'm going to hand over to Zoe from FDM to talk about their organisation and to share a few messages with us. Thanks, Zoe.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm just trying to share my screen at the moment. Has that worked?
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, press the wrong button again. So just really briefly want to talk you through a few slides just to explain a little bit more about FDM and who we are, because we're not, the biggest household name, so I often find it's useful to just explain what we do. So our name is FDM, we're a global company, and our model is recruit, train and deploy. So the recruit aspect is mainly what we do when we come and work with universities. So that's about awareness raising with students and graduates, talking to you about our business and our opportunities, and then bringing you through the process if you've got any interest in that. Once you're on the programme, you are then trained. So that could be for a period of 6 to 14 weeks, depending on the stream that you choose. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a minute. Once you've finished your training, we then send you out to go and work for one of our clients. And that could be anyone across the UK. You can see there's a little map there just kind of demonstrating the sort of global reach of FDM. In the UK, we've got offices in Glasgow, Leeds and London. I'm based in the Leeds office today, but we've also got offices globally. So Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney, Toronto, New York, Frankfurt. I always miss a few out, but we do have a massive global reach and we're huge as well. So every year we recruit over 1,000 graduates in the UK onto our programmes. So we are one of the biggest IT recruiters in the UK. So these are the roles that we recruit for on our technical side. We do also have some business roles, but today I'm talking to you about the technical focus. So for these roles, we can recruit from literally any degree discipline. The only one that requires some prior knowledge is the software developer one. And for that, we do expect that people have got some level of knowledge of programming. But for the rest, these are all based on recruiting from any degree discipline. So the intro that Amanda gave was really, really helpful because it kind of put into context where all these roles sit in that sort of in that business context. So the tech ops is very much, as Amanda said, a problem solver. The business intelligence data analyst is somebody who works across the business, gathering requirements to work out where the business needs to go and what that needs to look like in terms of maybe a new platform development, something like that. Cloud computing, as Amanda said, that's a massive growth area. As you will know, everybody's trying to store their data on the cloud and all of this cyber security around that. The tester is somebody who looks at programs that have already been developed and then prods them basically to try and make them fail, to see where the pain points are, see if they can make it as robust as possible. RPA, which is robotics process automation, is all about trying to support businesses to automate certain processes to make themselves more efficient. And that's something that we've developed in the last couple of years in response to our client demand, who have been trying to do that themselves in their businesses. And then we have the dev, the software developer as well. So I won't talk you through all of these. I can always send the slides on afterwards and Amanda can share them, but obviously, of course, this is a recorded session, but these are the 7 strengths that we look for when we're looking to recruit people onto our programme. And these 7 strengths are based on what we know is needed to work in the tech sector today. So we need people who are driven, we need people who can understand and solve problems logically, we need people who are looking to work beyond their job description, so they're interested in what other people are doing and sort of the world around them. People need to be adaptable in the tech sector because you've got to work with different teams, different levels of people with different communication styles, different working styles. So you need to be able to respond to things as they change. Relationship building is hugely important. And this is one of the reasons why we do recruit from any degree discipline, because, certain degree disciplines do really lend themselves to that sociable aspect, people who are able to build and form relationships. Well, we look for people who are curious in tech. So although we don't ask for any tech qualifications when you come onto our programme, we do want to know that you have a passion for what's going on in the tech sector, because that will really help you if you come into the role. And resilience is something that we really, really need at the moment. And I guess all of us, haven't we? We've got examples of how we've been able to demonstrate resilience in the last 12 months, because it's been a tough world. So, we need people who are able to pick themselves up, carry on, and go on to achieve the next day after having a bad day the day before. So just a little bit of overview there. And that's the end of my slides, Amanda. But the other thing I will say is I've got an unusual name. You can see it on the screen there, Zoe Mitten. So if you do want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please go and find me. I think I'm the only one in the UK, so please do connect. It would be really nice to speak to you again. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Zoe. That's really good introduction there. And I'm sure you can go on and tell people a bit more about what they'll be doing as we go through to the questions. Tasnia and Jess, do you want to share your slides as well? Thank you. So we've now got our colleagues from Atos joining us.
Sorry, let me know when you can see that.
Nearly. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so Jess and I are from Atos. I'll talk a little bit about ourselves first before we go on to Atos. So my name is Tasnia Assan. It's just there, so if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, feel free to. I studied chemical engineering at Manchester Uni from 2013 to 2017, so a little while ago now. It shocks me that was 4 years ago that I graduated. And I received my offer from Atos back in January 2019. So that's 2 years after I actually graduated, because during those 2 years, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, and it wasn't engineering. I didn't enjoy what I studied. So I kind of took time to look for what it was that I was passionate about. And then I found the project management role at Atos and began that in 2019 in September. So what I currently do at the moment is I work for Atos. I'm contracted out to the Met Police. And I work on the estates for the Met Police. So there was a cut to funding for the police, and to save some money, they're closing down some of the police stations. So the projects that I manage work on cutting down and shutting down the IT infrastructure at those police stations. Jess?
Yeah, thank you, Taz. Hi, everybody. I'm Jess Samaya. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I think it's Jessica on LinkedIn. Yeah, so I studied mathematics at Manchester, graduated in 2019, and then kind of moved straight into my role at Atos after the summer I graduated. So I started as a project manager alongside Taz, and then I was on a project with LTA, which is like the Lawn Tennis Association, kind of doing a digital transformation for them. I'll go into more detail about what Atos does later, but I kind of found that wasn't for me, and that wasn't what I was interested in. So I decided to move roles completely into full stack development and join that stream of the graduate scheme at Atos. And I went in with kind of absolutely no coding experience, only little bits on what you get through the maths degree. And now I'm working on writing applications, writing APIs, front end work. I basically kind of do everything under the sun, and I've had a great experience of learning. But I came in with almost no experience. So that's me in a nutshell.
So just to tell you a little bit about Atos, not very many people have actually heard of the company before, but we are a global leader in IT solutions, digital transformation, and we offer a wide range of services. So that does include consulting, project management, digital security, decarbonisation offerings. So for those who are actually interested in technology already, we do have a vast range of capabilities. So that does include cybersecurity, edge, AI, customer experience, basically anything to do with tech. Atos are involved or have some involvement with it somewhere. So we're involved with basically almost every industry. So we work for government. So I work for the police. We work for retail. We have so you can see some of our clients actually just on the screen. We've got McDonald's on there, NHS, at BBC, and the Olympics logo as well. So if you're unaware of Atos, we are the official IT partners of the Olympics and Paralympics. Personally, I wasn't too sure what industry I wanted to go in, and I was quite interested in manufacturing and utilities because I did come from an engineering background, and that's kind of what I knew. So I thought joining Atos would be a great opportunity to look at all the other industries that are available out there. So yeah, I think that's a little bit outdated, the slide, 100,000 business technologists. I think that's gone up to 110,000 now, and we're available in 72 countries across the world. And a lot of the work that we do with customers, it's things that you actually experience on a day-to-day basis. So for example, McDonald's, we were quite involved with the self-checkout, the IT behind those screens that you have when you order your food, and it's quite quick. We were involved in setting that up for McDonald's. And Jess has actually been working with the Premier League recently. Jess, do you want to talk a bit more about your clients?
Yeah, sure. So as alongside, so I work in the reinsurance industry at the moment, kind of automating business processes. But when the football fixtures happen every summer, so when that time comes around, I've been working on building an algorithm that automates or generates the football fixtures for the Premier League, for the EFL, and for some lower leagues as well. And I got to write that from scratch, and it's ran on Atos's supercomputer that's in France, HPC. So I've kind of got to be able to work on this really cool sort of mathematical project, but use engineering to solve it, and get to talk to the Premier League clients, ask them what's important to them, compromise with them to see what the best solution is, and they understand the capabilities of the limitations of the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to actually be able to see football leagues have a little actually publish the fixtures that we've created. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Yeah, I don't know much about football, but I thought that was really cool what Jess does. So we have quite a large range of career opportunities for grads and interns, even throughout COVID. So a lot of the graduates that joined throughout the pandemic have actually been working online. So I've actually not met my team, and we'll be meeting them this week for the first time. But we do have all these graduate programs still available. So there is a mix here on the screen of different kind of technical roles and non-technical ones. So we've got so non-tech, we've got account management, sales, we've got finance, HR, business consulting, but then you've got a lot of the techie ones there as well. So you've got cybersecurity, cloud services, business ops, and as long as you've got a 2-1 degree, doesn't matter what background you come from, and you have an interest for the tech industry, we are willing to take you on as long as you can show that you're passionate and flexible and adaptable across the different industries.
I would like to add there, Taz, that like even in sectors within Atos, such as cybersecurity, you don't need to really have a technical background at all to go into the cybersecurity sector. You could be a consultant in that area. There's lots and lots of flexibility in the types of roles that are in these little kind of sectors. So yeah, there's lots of flexibility.
Just to follow on from what Jess has said as well, actually. So when you join the grad scheme, you can join in any of those roles, but like Jess did, she moved across to a different role. So I think when you join our grad scheme or join Atos, it's really important to network and find out what different people do. And there are so many opportunities to do that. And if there is something that you find quite interesting that someone else does, you're more than welcome to just ask them to shadow them for a day. Or there is actually a committee that's put together for pitching different kind of roles, a day in the life of series that we do as well, so you can see what different roles involve. Yeah, you can just network across, and there's loads of different learning opportunities as well. So on this slide, there's mention of Atos University. So we've got this learning platform, and there are thousands and thousands of courses available there. So I joined a workshop for a customer experience team for recent graduates, discussing what they would have liked to see at uni, and that was work with a university that we were doing. And because of that, I thought the workshop was really fun, and I was interested in what customer experience do. So I looked up a training program, and it literally takes you from the basics to all the way to detailed UI and UX design. So exactly what the customers are experiencing and what they would like to see, the different colors and the psychology behind designing. There is just so much out there available for you to kind of learn about. In terms of support and development as well, even within your own role, as soon as you join the graduate program, or as soon as you are given your offer, you're put into contact with your line manager. So before I joined my grad scheme, I was speaking to my line manager about 3 or 4 times already before I joined. You're given a grad buddy as well that you're in contact with. Yeah, so along with all that support, you're given all these training programs to do at the start, just so that everyone's kind of on the same lines in terms of the technical capability. So the division that I'm part of is application modernization services. There's a 9-week training program where you experience all the different roles, and you actually end up participating in a group project where you design an app and you present it back to your team and your line manager. You're also given the opportunity to pursue any professional qualifications. So I've just finished my grad program, and last week I just finished my Prince 2 qualification, which is the project management one. It's internationally recognized, and that's from coming from a completely different background and just trying to understand what project management processes and governance is in place. And the final thing to mention, actually, one of the most important things I think is the graduate community that you have here. So like I said, there's plenty of opportunities to network, but we have a community called the GIAs, which is the graduates, interns and apprentices. And as well as all the social events that are ongoing, there's plenty of opportunity to volunteer, get involved with fundraising and network across the company. So people from global, there's always different mentoring programs going on. There's a lot of there's 7 different diversity and inclusion networks as well that you can get involved with. So yeah, there's plenty of support and ways to meet people. Jess, is there anything that I've missed?
No, I'm just nodding. I think, I think the graduate community and like the D&I networks, diversity and inclusion networks, are really important, and they're really valued by our exec board as well. They actively kind of engage with the community to sort of know how to drive like the best change. So I think it's really good the way that you can network and get involved in things outside of your role, but also learn from like Atos University, as you said.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Tasnia. Oh, sorry.
Just the last slide. We'll go through this really quickly. So we just wanted to talk about the different things that we did in our degree versus what we do and use in our roles on a day-to-day basis. So like I said, I did a completely different degree than my current role, but I was involved with doing design projects, dissertation, coursework, and very specific lectures. And despite that being quite different to my current role, everything has been quite useful because there's a lot of transferable skills that you do kind of pick up through doing that. So just to pick up on a few key ones, working collaboratively, teamwork, organisation, being able to present and communicate your findings, leadership, all of that is really, really useful. And I think that's all the slides. Sorry, I think I've just come up to the 10-minute mark.
That's all right. Perfect timing. Thank you very much, Tasnia and Jess. So said before that the slides will come through to you, so you'll be able to look at these in a little bit more detail as well. Okay, so our third panelists today, we've got a trio on the line, and no one's called Jess, but I will let you guys introduce yourselves, and I'd love to hear more about Talent Scout.
Okay, I'm just going to share our screen, Amanda. If you can just let me know when you can see it.
Sure, I will. It's coming. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Oh God. All right. Okay. Can you?
There we are.
Can you see that properly, or is that coming through in a different format?
We can see it in your presenter mode, so we can see your notes as well.
How do we get off? Okay, I don't really know why it's doing that.
Close it.
So just bear with.
That's all right. I mean, you can do it in that mode if it's easier for you. That's
no, because I think the notes don't even correlate to what we're actually saying, to be honest. How do we get off that?
Click the top.
That's what I did.
In fact, this links on perfectly to what we're trying to say about you don't need tech knowledge to work in tech. Which is perfect. We'll just do it in normal mode.
We'll just do it with the notes. It's fine.
We've got someone helping you from the chat. Go to display settings and change it there. It's on the top.
This is difficult.
So you can have the job in tech. And
yeah.
I think in the other mode, you know, the black screen mode you were in a moment ago. I think it was on there. So whoever can help Carl to sort this out, you know, that there we so left of it. Is it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got well.
There we go.
Perfect. Hi guys, thank you Amanda. Thanks everyone. So we are Talent Scouts, and my name's Shelby, this is Sophie, and this is Kyle. I've been here for 2 months, Sophie's been here a year, and Kyle's been here for 2 years. So we've got a really big kind of variety and range there of our experience. So just to give you a quick kind of roundup of who we are and what we do. So we are tech recruiters, and we are talent consultants at Talent Scouts, and we are a division that is born out of the Finley James Group. Now, what we do here is we're focused on the graduate and the entry-level side of tech recruitment. And what we're going to do this afternoon is really just talk to you about how tech recruitment can either be a really good kind of stepping stone to accelerate your career within the tech industry, or how it can be a really great career in general and how you can build your recruitment career.
Yeah, so as you can probably already tell, none of us had any technology experience previous to this. So actually, it's funny, I graduated from the Uni of Manchester in 2019 with a degree in linguistics. I noticed a few people on the chat also doing linguistics. So I think the biggest thing what we've taken from tech recruitment in our career so far is actually being able to learn about tech and getting some really good details about it. So I think the main thing you think of when you think of tech companies is IBM, Apple, Google, Microsoft, but we have the opportunity to speak to a lot smaller, really cool startup tech companies. So the majority of our clients work in the SaaS industry. So that's software as a service. So that tails off into other industries like marketing technology, financial technology, data analytics, AI, some really cool different industries. And I think the main thing for us is every day we're speaking to, whether it's candidates that we're placing in roles or the clients themselves, we're gaining knowledge of tech that we would never ever know. And we're able to ask those questions and get a really deep knowledge about tech, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and just following on from what Sophie said there, in terms of speaking with clients and candidates, this could be anyone. This could be CEOs, this could be VPs, this could be sales directors of, small to medium and large, software companies across the globe, really. When I first came into recruitment, I think I had about 5 LinkedIn connections, including my mum as well. And, I managed to build that to like 5,000 plus now. And these are all people that could in the future be really important to me within the tech industry, from all the different types of tech that Sophie explained there, that if I ever wanted to move on from recruitment and go into, a tech sales job, or even any other job within tech, these are the kind of people that would be really useful, that I've built up relationships with, that I've got in my LinkedIn network that I can reach out to and speak to at any point, and then really further, my career in tech.
Fab. So just to give you an idea of success within recruitment. So obviously this is if you were to take the route of coming to join a company such as ourselves, and how your career could potentially pan out. So this is an example of a lady called Nadia who works in our company. So she graduated from the same uni as you guys in 2014, and that was a master's in translation studies. Now, as you can probably guess, that's absolutely nothing to do with tech, and a lot of us here are exactly the same boat as much as you guys are. I saw a lot of different degrees and kind of like flashing through there. So she came to Finley James in 2015. She then got promoted to principal consultant in 2017, and then to associate director in 2019. Now, just to give you an idea of what she's done in those 4 years, she's really kind of progressed through the company. Each promotion has come with a pay rise, bonuses, and more incentives. Now, what we're able to do here as well is we're able to find a niche within the tech industry. So Nadia's actually been able to kind of decide that where she works best and the most effectively is within the cybersecurity space. And she's now a cybersecurity specialist within Finley James. Nadia's actually been able as well to create a global industry network. So she's got clients in Israel. She's actually fluent German as well. So she's able to kind of prospect the DACH region, and she's just really kind of managed her own business and created her own career here. Now, just to give you a quick insight as to, the incentives and things that can kind of be possible within recruitment is Nadia's been in the President's Club, so that's 2017, 18, 19, and this year coming. So she's actually been taken to Marbella, Miami, and she's on her way to New York this year, fully paid for, all due to her really hard work and determination. And it just goes to show what incredible careers you can have within tech recruitment.
Yeah, and just following on from what Shelby said there, that is one of the routes that you can choose if you go into tech recruitment. You can really build your career out in tech recruitment and really just sort of basically make that role and make that career your own. But another example we have is Adam Ainscough, who actually used to work in Talent Scout a couple of years ago. So he was actually one of the first people in Talent Scout. He was one of the first consultants. He graduated with a bachelor's in politics in 2018 from Nottingham Trent. Came into the role without any experience in tech at all, really learned the tech, really, learned exactly what all of it meant, learned how to talk about all of it, and really learn it inside out. Built his network on LinkedIn, and he actually eventually moved into tech sales, where he is now. He actually moved on to one of our clients. So, being here actually allowed him to move into tech himself, and really progress his career on there. He's now a specialist in data analytics. He's had a couple of promotions in his time already as well, and really, really building his career within tech. So that's another example of what going into, tech recruitment can allow you to do and allow you to progress your career into. And I think that's about it from us. We're just going to sign off with that. But yeah, I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into what tech recruitment is and how it can help you really develop your career within tech. Whether you have no experience in tech at all, or you've got some knowledge, you can really come in and forge a really successful career. I think Amanda's going to share the slides with you guys afterwards as well. And you've got all the website, the LinkedIn's, the emails there as well. So if any of you guys want to get into touch, whether that's for recruitment or whether that's, to go into a tech company in the sales department as well, then yeah, don't hesitate to get in touch and let us know.
That's great. Thank you, guys. So you've heard from all our three panelists. Now there's an opportunity to ask them your questions, anything that you'd particularly like to know, and any comments that you have. So we'll let you post that in the chat. You can either put it specifically to myself or just put it generally in the comments, and then Jen and I can pick them out. While people are typing though, I've got a question for you all really about, I put some comments up about how you can show your kind of interest in tech, but from your own perspectives, how much interest do you have to have? And do you have to go off and do some kind of like free coding sites, or what's a good strategy to take it forward from here? Who would like to go? Shall I ask you, Zoe, first, if that's okay?
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good question, actually. And I think, lots of students have been thinking about that because, we've all said, haven't we, the digital sector is everywhere. So really students are using their digital capabilities every single day. But it is a good idea to do some digital upskilling. So at FDM, we do some digital upskilling events every week. So if you just put in FDM events in Google, you can bring those up. And it's really simple stuff for people who've got no experience whatsoever, such as Excel, HTML, CSS, Python. And that's just so that when you come to interview, you're able to demonstrate that you've acted on that passion for tech. And you're able to say, yes, I did have an interest, and so I've gone and done this, this, and this. Or you could be doing something in your own personal time, such as building a website. It could be any number of different things. You might even be using tech in your degree about it. But there are ways in which you can demonstrate then, that passion.
Great, thank you. Any other comments from anybody?
Yeah, so quickly, I think that having an interest is key. I think having that eagerness to learn about it will really help you kind of take those next steps and further your career and stuff. But having the actual knowledge probably isn't actually key. I think having that kind of really keen interest is so important, though. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So would you say that's kind of like reading around the sector, almost like following the kind of sector news?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, when I first joined Talent Scout, I honestly didn't have any idea about tech. And what I did, I don't know whether this is something that you guys would want to do, but on the news app on your phone, you can actually tailor so that you get tech news coming through, you get notifications. I think that's just a really useful thing to have because it's stuff, you'll find out things that you would never find out. And yeah, I think doing some digging, making sure you're reading up on the kind of new stuff that's happening, and yeah, I think so.
Okay, there's a question. We have a question. That's brilliant. So a question about what does a typical work day look like for you all? So I think that's quite interesting to hear from everybody, or a typical day for someone in the organisation. Can I start with Tasnia or Jess to share that one, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll start off with that one. I think Jess and I both vary a lot in terms of our days, but as a project manager, I think the first thing would be to log in and check in on what's going on with your projects, what the progress is, if there's any issues, what we can do to deal with them. I think there's a lot of governance tasks that you have to do throughout the day, but the majority of the day just passes trying to resolve issues. And I think there's a massive difference between working from home at the moment or what it would be like on site. So from working at home, I have to, so if I've got a project going on today, for example, I have a site being emptied, I'd have to be on the phone pretty much all day, making sure that everyone has the right kind of access to the building, in and out, making sure that everything's being removed, checking what's been left in the building and what needs to be removed and who needs to get involved with that. Any IT infrastructure that's left, just making sure that it's been wiped down or it's been destroyed, making sure that I've got the destruction certificates available, so that there's no security risk. So as soon as something's taken off site, it can't be taken off unless it's been completely wiped, otherwise it's a massive security risk. And then on top of that, once I've kind of dealt with all the issues that are ongoing, making sure that all the finances are kept up to date, that all the kind of clients are up to date on what's going on, any progress, any issues, answering any queries or questions that they may have, and just liaising a lot with the suppliers as well. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you build a relationship with the suppliers. I remember when I first started, I'm more of an introverted person, so I don't speak up as much on calls. I just kind of get my head down and get the work done. But because of that, I think a lot of the people that I work with thought that I'd struggle in a stressful environment. And one of the things that a supplier said to me was they were worried about me taking on this role. But I think once you build that relationship up, and now we got along quite a lot, they're always there to kind of advise me. We just speak on the phone a lot about what's going on and have our regular weekly updates as well. So I think every day varies a lot, but the main thing is just making sure that the progress of projects is going on well and that your finances are up to date, and any queries and issues are dealt with and the customer is kept happy.
Thank you. Zoe, can I ask you a typical day for somebody in FDM?
Yeah, so my role is that I'm head of university partnerships for UK and Europe. So the people in my team work with universities. We've got partnerships with around 90 to 100 universities across Europe. And my team work regularly with their caseload universities. So that might be at this time of year having regular conversations to start planning for the autumn term. By the time it gets to autumn term, it goes absolutely bonkers. We're out every day in the usual year at careers fairs, doing workshops, presentations, Q&As, pop-ups, all sorts of different things. And then alongside that, there's also the recruitment aspect. So working with those people that we've talked to at events and getting them to speak to them to see if they're interested in our programs, and then bringing them through, usually through a whole academic year, to start then in the summer on our programs. But we do recruit all year round. So even though they may be busy with their universities, they've still got to bring in people all year round. So it's a busy and varied job. Yeah, and like Tasnia had to say, there's no 2 days the same realistically.
Thank you. And Kyle, would you like to say something about the tech recruitment typical day?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of similar where no 2 days are the same again. Each day you're looking for a different client, you're looking for different candidates, and whether this can be from finance tech, this can be from marketing tech. So, I mean, typically day to day, to break it down, we'd come in, have a meeting, decide what areas of the business need more focus, where we need more candidates, where we need to really find candidates from, and break that down into what experience they need, what tech background they need in sales, or if they're looking for fresh grads as well, and really trying to get the right candidates in front of these companies, managing them through the process as well. And networking even more on LinkedIn, trying to get our own personal brand out there and trying to attract some more people. And that's pretty much day to day. Obviously, you have other days when you come towards end of processes and you're dealing with offers and you're dealing with contracts. That's when it's a bit further down the pipeline. But most day you would say you are looking for candidates. Obviously, we do have days, pre-COVID, where we'd be going to London, doing days down there, meeting clients face to face, going into their offices as well, which hopefully we'll be doing soon as well. But yeah, I'd say for the time being, that's about the day-to-day of it.
Thank you. We've got a few more questions, so some of them are quite specific, but I will touch on them all because I think it's important that we cover them. Somebody making a comment that they'd worked in market research for a few years, a consultant project manager, looking to go into advanced analytics consulting, and should they go for graduate scheme or experienced roles? And I guess that's a kind of general question then as well about the entry levels into kind of this sector. Do you need to go on a grad scheme, or do you need to be applying for sort of experienced higher roles? I'm going to ask the panel in a moment, but from my own perspective, I would say it's always quite useful to get in touch with a company that you're interested in. So I remember Accenture used to take people onto their grad scheme. Everybody goes on through the grad scheme. It was almost like people with huge amount of experience, quite senior in other areas. And it was a way of ensuring everybody had the kind of like the base kind of upskilling. And so often grad schemes can be applicable for people at all levels, but also it may be that there is a particular opening that might suit you. So just making contact either through LinkedIn with a recruiter or contacting the organization before you apply. My own view would be it might be quite pragmatic and it might depend on the individual, but get in touch first and share what you've got. But anybody else want to comment on that? Any other comments that they'd like to add? Yeah, Zoe.
Yeah, I would say, because just to give you some background, before I started work at FDM, I actually worked in a university career service for 17 years. So bringing a little bit of that background into this, as well as my experience at FDM, I would say don't limit yourself. I would say apply for both and then get as much feedback as possible. And you'll pretty much know at that point whether which path's going to work the best for you. But I wouldn't make a decision to choose one or the other. I don't think that's the best strategy. I think you ought to try both and see where that gets you.
Sure. And as tech recruiters, Kyle and Shelby, your view on that as well?
I think what you said about picking the right company, speaking to people from that company. I think in terms of going for a grad scheme or an experienced role, I think the only way you're going to really find out is by just going for it and apply for both, and depending who comes back, give yourself some options. and really put yourself out there as much as possible. If you're only interested in the experienced roles, then just go for them. But if you are willing to try both, then put applications out for both and just see where you end up. And if you get some good replies back, then you can make some choices on where you want to go next in your career. But I'd just say, get yourself out there as much as possible. And if you do pick a company that specifically you think, you want to work at, then, start connecting with people in that company and start, getting some conversations and just really start getting yourself out there and building that network.
Thank you. We've had a few questions around recruitment of our international students and graduates and how open your organisations are for sort of visa sponsorship. I know that there's the graduate visa coming, so some of our graduates will be able to work, will have their own sort of visas for a year as well. And just to ask our panel about your response to recruiting our international graduates. Can I start with Zoe, and I'll just move across my panel if that's okay.
Yeah, so we don't recruit international students onto our UK graduate scheme purely because the salary threshold is too low for the restrictions. However, as I said right at the beginning, we are a global company. So we do have grad schemes across the world, so Asia Pacific, America, Canada, Europe. So actually you're not limited in terms of where you want to work, but we don't take international students onto our UK grad scheme, unfortunately.
Okay, and Tasnia?
We're in the same boat as Zoe, unfortunately. Yeah, so in the UK and our grad scheme, we can't take on international students. But again, we are also a global company, so we do have roles throughout. So just look on our careers website. It is a global careers website, so you'll be able to see any roles that are available wherever you want to work.
Okay, and for Talent Scout?
Yeah, to be honest with us, it's a case-by-case basis. So, every company will have their own kind of policy on it. If I'm right in thinking off the top of my head, we don't have any companies at the moment that will take, candidates without a visa. A lot of our companies are a bit smaller, and in terms of funding, might not have as much funding as some of the bigger companies. So, they're not as willing to put money aside to sponsor candidates. So unfortunately at the moment I don't believe we have any that would take any, but it's a case-by-case basis, so the best thing to do is just to keep checking in and we can get in touch if we do have any that will sponsor people.
I suppose it's worth saying that our graduates will have entitlement to have almost like a visa in their own right as they graduate with the new graduate visa for international students. So I guess they will come with that kind of, maybe they can work for up to a year. I think it's a little bit longer with the extra on their student visa. So I guess if they approach you, for example, Talent Scout, with that potential to work for 12 months or so, would that make a difference for the firms, you think?
Yeah, 100%. If a company is sort of willing to take that and, you've got 12 months in the company and you add real value to that company, there's nothing to say after that they wouldn't then, invest and then, give you full sponsorship as well. If I'm completely honest, I'm not 100% sure how the graduate visa works fully. So I don't want to give too much information just in case I say the wrong thing, but yeah, definitely worth reaching out if you do have that kind of visa, and then just seeing exactly what companies we can put in front of you and what roles we can offer.
Thank you. And we'll share with, just to say to our students on the call today, we'll share with our panel as well what we know about the grad visa, because I know it's very new. And just help our students to market themselves with that as well. Okay, I'm just going to check in, see if we've got any more questions. Can I also ask, there was a comment about someone that said they're 42, and will that be a disadvantage to getting different jobs as well, that they're struggling, and wondered if it was an age thing? And anybody got any comments about that?
I think from our point of view, in terms of the companies that we recruit for, I've never seen age been an issue. No company has ever said anything to me about age. The only sort of issue they have is experience, and if you have any experience in the right areas, and if you've actually still got the right attitude, age has never been an issue for the roles that we recruit for. And yeah, I don't see it would ever be an issue going forward. But yeah, that's just from our personal point of view.
We've not got any more questions coming through at the moment, so I'm just going to share my slides with you just for the final. I think I've got a few more just quick comments to make before we round up. But if you've still got questions, please do post them. I'm just attempting to share my slides. This takes a moment. Great. Okay. And so just whiz through. What I posted here, and this will come round in the links, is a couple of blog posts that I put together last year just about how you can give yourself a bit of a digital makeover on your CV to pull out those digital skills that you'll have had and develop while you're at the university. And also, if you are still at the university or can still access the facilities at the university, there are a few different things that are available at Manchester that you can get involved in, which would help you develop those skills. There's also some links to some kind of like media comments and an overview of the sector and what kind of graduate jobs there are in tech. So if you wanted to know a little bit more information, those links will come through on the slides for you. A last comment I want to make is around diversity inclusion as well. So we're, as a careers service, aware that not everybody has the same access to opportunities or awareness of opportunities. And there is a section on our careers service website which we talk about equality and linking to specific areas like disability, for example, and ethnic diversity. If we know of any particular initiatives, we kind of highlight those as well, and there may be particular internship programs for specific groups, just to help you access different opportunities and organisations. So as I mentioned, the kind of like Sky Diversity Initiative and PwC, there's a whole host of organisations looking at bringing more people into the sector and diversifying the sector. So I think the tech sector is certainly one that there are a whole host of initiatives because the sector is very aware of how sometimes diversity isn't so strong. Just to let you know about what's coming up the rest of the week as we kind of finalise the end of this session. This is part of a week-long programme of events, but you may not have noticed that there's a recruitment fair in there as well on Thursday. So you can sign up. If you go to Career Connect, you can use the QR code as well, or you've got the link there. But you can see all the different things that are happening. You can see the organisations at the fair, and from today you can sign up for some slots at the fair. So they're starting to fill up. So I would say do have a look today if you can, just to sign up if you need a slot. If you haven't registered for today's session, there's the QR code again. But I really just want to say thank you all for coming, and thank you to our panellists for being so open as well about everything that they've got to offer. I'm just trying to stop sharing my slides. There we go. Just to sort of open back up to our panel. So thank you, panel. Is there any one last question that anybody wants to ask? Anything that anybody wants to know? I think one thing I'd just like to ask then, just to finish this off, is that when I talk to some students about the tech sector, there's often a comment about, well, I don't want to be on my own in an office in a dark room or at a desk all day. And just want to ask each of you, just to finish off, how your job or the jobs that you know of for people in the tech sector, in what way is it most different to that kind of stereotype? So I'm going to ask Tasnia first, if I may.
I can't say that I'm ever just sat at my desk all day. I'm actually on site on Wednesday, and so Jess is in more of a technical role. She's always in client meetings. She actually goes to clients to see them. She's a lot more on site than even I am. So it isn't just being sat at your desk all day, so you don't need to worry about that. There's a lot of socializing, a lot of team collaboration. You have to meet face to face and actually talk to people to find out exactly what they want. So yeah, I never worry about sitting down at a desk all day. It's not like that at all.
Zoe, any comments that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I completely agree with Tasnia. You know, one of the skills that we recruit for is being a relationship builder, because we recognise that working in tech in this day and age, it requires an awful lot of communication skills. You need to work with different people in different teams across the offices and in your own team as well. Communication is one of the most important skills that we need working in tech these days, because there's always somebody that you've got to be talking to find out their requirements, see if it works for them, all of that sort of thing. Yeah, completely agree with everything Tasnia said. There's no way you're just sitting on your own all day. Okay, and last comment from our Talent Scout team.
Yeah, so I agree. We have an amazing culture here. So we have people from kind of
all different backgrounds, and we all come together all the time. I think the main thing in this office is we're always doing different things. I mean, last Friday we all did a like Euros fancy dress, and we all dressed in kind of like, I had a Ukraine flag with me. It was really cool. Like, it's so far away from that kind of sitting in a dark room at a desk all day situation. And I mean, yeah, if you're someone who wants to get involved and have fun whilst doing a really kind of interesting job, then yeah, I think tech recruitment could be the one for you.
Thank you. So we're just past 2 o'clock. So thanks everybody for joining us, and a big thank you to our panelists today. Really appreciate your comments and input today. So we have been recording the session. We will have the recording available on our YouTube channel, University of Manchester Careers Service, and we'll get the slides sent out to you as well. So thanks very much, everybody, and I'll end the session now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.